Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Saturday, October the 5th, 2024. I am Jarrell Bryan. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, Government advancing Caribbean Diagnostics Center for Special Needs Students, MANICKCHAND. It's utterly disgusting. JAGDIO on fishing license woes with Suriname. Teachers being trained to promote sustainable agriculture in schools. And over $125 million for ICT access, e-services in Hinterland, poor communities next year, PM. Now for the news in detail. Following years of a planned Caribbean diagnostics facility being installed, the People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC government is looking to provide additional support to advance this project. This was announced earlier today during the commissioning of an aquatic therapy pool at the facility located on the grounds of the Cyril Potter College of Education, CPCE. Details in our lead story tonight. On Saturday, the Ministry of Education commissioned the Edward Mohammed Pool at the Regional Special Education Needs and Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center located in the compound of the Cyril Potter College of Education in Turkine. The pool will be used for therapy for the hundreds of students with disabilities at the center. Education Minister Priya MANICKCHAND, who was on hand to inaugurate the pool, explained the backstory of the center. According to her, the center was supposed to have been built and services launched since under the former APNU AFC government, but things went awry.
This facility here, which is why it was chosen for this pool, this facility here is actually a Caribbean Diagnostic and Treatment Center. So what had happened is the Cubans, our very good friends, had helped us establish this program with officers, helped us in Guyana sometime around 2016. And this was supposed to blossom into a Caribbean diagnostic, in fact that's the agreement we signed with the Cubans, a Caribbean Diagnostic Center where children from across the Caribbean could come here, get diagnosed and get treated. And unfortunately, the then government did not advance that program. So we are now doing that to try to make sure this facility has the resources, human resources we need, like speech therapists and physios and psychologists and other diagnostic professional people.
The minister also recounted the progress the ministry has made so far since 2020 with the Special Education Needs and Disabilities SEND program. According to the minister, these changes include establishing almost a dozen learning spaces across the country for students with special needs.
And so what have we done from in the last 3 years? We appointed an Assistant Chief Education Officer for SEN, Keon Chung, not sure if he's here, I think he's on leave. We have a Special Education Officer in the person of Nikoya. So that's a whole department set aside to look after the needs of special education learners. We have created and established at the Cyril Potter College of Education, or Soul Teacher Training Facility, a new program, an associate degree in special education needs. And we have now 49 learners, 49 student teachers who are on that program who are going to, in 2 years, hold an associate degree.
According to MANICKCHAND, this associate degree will equip them to help look after the special education needs of children. When it comes to the Guyana Online Academy of Learning, GOAL, 150 persons have so far graduated with a bachelor in special education. Meanwhile, Teddy Mohammed, the donor behind the construction of the pool, estimated to have cost US $100,000, explained what motivated him towards this philanthropic act. The pool is named after Teddy's son Edward, while funds for the pool came from the family's bookstore, Mohammed's Bookstore in Trinidad and Tobago.
The swimming pool was all my wife and my idea because being a Muslim, my second wife had a baby for me. Unfortunately, the retina was damaged. And they never had any physical facilities for him in Trinidad. So we thought we'd teach him to swim. With that, he learned to swim. And boy, he lives with his mother in Miami and he will jump out in the ocean and swim. With that in mind, I wanted to know what I could do for the Guyanese children. After discussing the same idea with the minister, came up with, we'll build a special swimming pool for these children.
Joe O'Brien, The Evening News. Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo has expressed his dissatisfaction at the manner in which the Surinamese government is handling the age-old fishing license issue with Guyana. Find out more in this Michael Henry report.
Back in August 2021, the Surinamese government had committed to issue 150 Guyanese fisherfolk with licenses from January 2022 to operate in Suriname's territorial waters. But to date, these licenses are yet to be issued despite repeated efforts by Guyanese authorities to get this matter resolved. During his weekly press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo was asked for an update on the matter.
It's utterly disgusting, and you know my views on that. The last time I said it, they were not very happy when I said what I had to say. I've not changed my opinion that that system is very opaque. Let me moderate what I said the last time. It's a very opaque system. And the Surinamese government has not been courageous enough to address it in a manner that would be consistent with good neighborliness.
Guyanese fishermen operate from the Quarantine Coast, and in order to access to the Atlantic where they get most of their catch, they have to use the Quarantine River, which is Surinamese territory. In recent years, however, Guyanese fisherfolk are being exploited and made to pay exorbitant fees to rent licenses that are issued to Surinamese businessmen in order to operate in the border river. Last year, it was reported that about 250 licenses are being rented, and the Surinamese license holder are demanding between $4,000 and $6,000 for the permit document. Back in February, on the sidelines of the CARICOM Heads of Government Conference held in Georgetown, Suriname's President Chandrika Persa Santokhi assured that his government is not running away from its responsibility and that the issue is a priority topic for dialogue between the two nations. Operators in the local fishing industry along the Quarantine have been calling on the Guyana government to apply more pressure on its Surinamese counterpart to resolve the fishing licenses issue. Michael Henry, The Evening News.
Underscoring the need for sustainable agriculture to start at the school level, the Ministry of Agriculture, through the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI, is trying to get schools involved in new agricultural practices. Andrew Carmichael has the details.
One of the activities planned in observance of Agriculture Month 2024 is the training of agriculture teachers in secondary schools. In Region 6, this is being done through a collaborated effort by the Regional Education Department and the regional arm of the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI. The aim is to import new concepts on important aspects of agriculture as it pertains to the school garden system and other agricultural systems which are critical for the region. Training manager of NARI, Warren Barlow, says the institute is hoping that agricultural teachers are better equipped to understand new concepts like vertical gardening, which is the utilization of small spaces, and recyclable utensils for school gardening.
One of the examples to give, I would have alluded to the possibilities of just utilizing, small spaces and the kind of revenue that the school can generate. So I think that's a critical thing that we have done today. And this is all in collaboration or in conjunction with promoting sustainable agricultural development across the country.
This year, Agriculture Month is being observed under the theme Transforming Tomorrow, Championing Food Security Through Innovation and Technology. This highlights the need for sustainable practices and technological advancements to secure the future of agriculture. Barlow says it is hoped that schools will adapt to the new practices and it is likely to enhance what the schools have been doing.
Because we are also promoting polyculture. And polyculture is where we do an integrated or mixed cropping system. So therefore, that will be excellent for the region in that not just we look at the traditional system, but we incorporate also more technological and advanced systems, complement it, and by utilizing little spaces, we can able to rake in better revenues or more revenues, along with the traditional system that we are operating. So I think the impact will be great in terms of the production possibilities, and also the children also able to learn these new technologies, utilizing small and recyclable things that they can use to grow their crops.
Meanwhile, school teachers highlighted physical infrastructural issues that have negatively impacted their school gardens.
Things like fencing, inadequate fencing, they would have complained that things like stray animals would have destroyed the crops. One of the issues they highlighted was the shade house. In terms of the construction of the shade house, they found that in some cases the shade house does not allow for enough ventilation. So these are a few issues that they would have raised.
Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Coming up on the other side of the break, over $125 million for ICT access e-services in hinterland poor communities next year, PM. Please stay tuned.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all persons who meet the eligibility requirements to apply for registration. By doing so, you will be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and be included in the official lists of electors for future elections, providing you meet all eligibility criteria. Persons could be prosecuted, fined, or even sent to prison for failing or refusing to apply for registration. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact GCOM on 225-027729 or visit the website www.gcom.org.
Guys, I think I'm in love! Wow!
Yeah, I was looking at you too.
What? What are you talking about? I'm in the tiles. Where did you get them?
Oh, Mima Decor, obviously the best tile store in Guyana. Come, let me take you there.
My kitchen, my bathroom, my floors. Mima Decor has everything. And the prices are great too.
So, yeah, I want to have a date now.
We can build on that.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The sum of $125 million will be set aside in the Office of the Prime Minister's 2025 budget to support the operationalization of information and communication technology ICT hubs across the country. This is according to Prime Minister Mark Phillips, who made the announcement on Friday during an ICT Project Board meeting at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, ACCC. Trisha Sobers joins us with the details.
According to the Prime Minister Mark Phillips, the $125 million once approved will be allocated to the ongoing ICT access and e-services for hinterland, poor and remote communities project, which continues to make significant strides with over $1 billion invested in Amerindian communities to date. The Prime Minister added that another $120 million will also be set aside for the maintenance of existing facilities. This is double the cost allocated in the 2024 fiscal package for the maintenance and security of ICT hubs.
While the project should come to the end in 2026, personally I would like to see at least by December 2025 we reporting that 200 hubs completed, and completed here means connected. to the internet. This project already is a success, but we cannot rest on our laurels and become complacent. We have to continue with the same momentum, or perhaps greater momentum, to see this project to the end.
According to PM Phillips, Amerindian communities in 2025 will continue to experience unprecedented development as the government ramps up efforts to bridge the digital divide in these regions. He noted that over 120 hubs have been constructed over the last 3 years and 70 ICT managers along with 20 solar technicians trained to preserve these facilities.
We have gotten government approval to fund the purchase of 1,000 of those Starlink devices. So while Ronald is doing his work, we are going to the same communities and other communities and connecting them to the internet. It means when the hub is completed, all we will have to do is move the device from wherever we install it to the hub.
The goal, he said, is to construct some 200 ICT hubs by 2025 to provide service to almost 100,000 residents. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, and the Partnership for National Unity, APNU, Aubrey Norton, has said that slashing the annual budget for infrastructure is paramount if Guyana is to tackle issues affecting the livelihood of the nation's people. The opposition leader, who was at the time addressing a town hall meeting in Canada, hinted that the PNC plans to redirect funds being poured into the Public Works Ministry into more sustainable projects that are tailored at boosting human resource. Trishelle Sobers reports.
With over $200 billion allocated for roads and bridges this year, opposition leader Aubrey Norton has criticized the PPPC government's focus on infrastructure spending, arguing that the funds could be better utilized to provide public servants with a livable wage and skills training, among others. Norton explained that his party's approach to national development would put people at the center of the agenda, noting that cutting annual budget for infrastructure will aid interventions.
We will relook that budget and we will focus on human resource development. No country develops if its human resource is not capable of developing the country. And so we are going to have a proper survey of the needs of the society. And then, once we do that survey, we will train people to fill the skill gaps.
Further, Norton disclosed that allocation of funds for unnecessary repairs to major roads will also be discontinued by the PNC-led APNU if elected to office in 2025.
We built the Linden-Soos-Dyke Highway in 1968. And it was for 20 years, up to 1988. And when the PPP came to government in 1992, we had money to do that highway, and they refused to do it. But I say that to you to say we did quality work. What is happening now is a lack of quality. We have already identified the things we will do to improve infrastructural development in Guyana, including a proper monitoring unit to ensure we monitor and have timelines so that they can be realized on the timelines.
The sum of $221.4 billion was allocated in this year's national budget to the Ministry of Public Works. Of that number, $204.1 billion was allocated for roads and bridges, $2.3 billion for air transport, $8.1 billion for river transport, and $6.9 billion for sea and river defense. In 2023, the government expended $134.3 billion to improve road connectivity across the country, of which over $65.9 billion was expended under the miscellaneous urban and hinterland road program to upgrade, construct, and rehabilitate roads in communities across the country. A further $8.5 billion was expended to construct, rehabilitate, and maintain bridges. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
The Regional Democratic Council, RDC, of Region 6 has expressed concerns over the suspension of a councillor of the New Amsterdam Mayor and Town Council. On Monday, the Town Council passed a motion to suspend People's Progressive Party Councillor Carol Trim-Bagot, and that issue was raised when the RDC met on Thursday. Our Burmese correspondent Andrew Carmichael brings us that story.
On Tuesday, Mayor Wainwright McIntosh, in a press statement, said the suspension of Councillor Carol Trim-Bagot was done under Section 2801, Standing Order 9H of the Laws of Guyana. That section speaks to motion for suspension of a member. The mayor also highlighted the wrongdoings of the councillor.
Over recent months, there have been numerous instances where Councillor Trim-Bagot has displayed a lack of respect towards both the mayor and her fellow councillors.
However, addressing the media at a PPP press conference on the issue, Party Representative Sean Smith says the law is clear on the issue.
They need to go and reread 2801, Section 28, which says whenever any member shall have been named by the mayor or presiding member immediately after the commission of the offense. The term immediately after the commission of the offense implies there and then that the action would have had to happen on the day of the sitting of the council in the chambers.
On Thursday, when the RDC met, Councillor Derek Basdale, who represents the Alliance for Change, questioned the actions of the New Amsterdam Town Council. He said it is something that should not have happened. Regional Chairman David Armagan says there have been many instances at the RDC where councillors have been disrespectful, but he never suspended anyone. He pointed out that councillors have a right to express their opinions.
I think they acted really outside of their powers and without any conscience, right? I think the mayor, who should have better sense, who I had some amount of respect for, and which is now lost, should have been able to temper that situation and maybe warn the councillor, or if they feel that the councillor was doing something wrong, they maybe should have been able to speak to the councillor in private. But to be able to suspend the councillor from meetings, I mean, it is something that has gone too far. And I wish, as chairman of this meeting here, to condemn that.
The regional chairman also gave his views on the reason behind the suspension of the councillor.
The problem is she's asking too many questions and they can't answer it. That's what the problem is. The problem is they got lots of money problems in that council, and the lady has been trying to find out where all the money gone. And they can't account for, they can't answer to the questions that she's asking. And as a result of that, they decide to suspend the lady.
Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Sunday, October 6, 2024 at 4 hours 30 for a period of 1 hour and 15 minutes. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours 45 on Sunday, October 6, 2024 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Warriors trample Royals en route to CPL final. This and more coming up in the Sportscast after the break.
Moving, lifting, or bending, whatever the job, we at Sylvie's Variety Store have the right tools to make it happen. Pallet jacks and hand trucks for bonds and industrial sites, easy pickup and convenient maneuvers. Chain hoist from Roughneck and Northern Industrial, the perfect solution to lifting heavy objects. And then there's the 12-ton and 16-ton hydraulic pipe benders from 1/2 to 2 inch. We also stock the shop press machine from Northern Industrial. Sylvie's Variety Store stocks the tools to make it happen.
The Guyana Elections Commission GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise.
Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31st, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Types of transactions. Anyone eligible for registration is required to visit the registration office responsible for his or her area of residence to apply for registration. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were last registered. Apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered could request that their photographs be retaken if the quality of the photographs on their ID cards is unacceptable. Collect their new ID cards if they have not done so as yet. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, please contact GCOM on the following hotline numbers: 225-027-729, 226-6557, 223-9650, or visit the GCOM website at www.gcom.org.gk.